is an act of resilience. In time when despair feels reasonable, and cynicism feels like the right path, and anger feels like it's justified, however it comes out, we gather together to practice radical hope. Not a passive waiting for something to happen, but an act of defiance against forces that would diminish our humanity, yours, mine, and anyone on this planet. Together we choose hope as resistance, imagination as rebellion, and love as our most revolutionary act. We join together, each of us, and gather in a space such as this, and we bring our whole selves, each of us, a precious and unique individual. Each of us brings our one body, our one mind, our one spirit, and our one unique life, and we gather them together, and we create something different, something collective, and something that becomes altogether something new and something hopeful.
As this song builds, we'd like to sing it through and then invite you guys to sing with us. The power of all of our voices together.
This is the sound of one voice, one spirit, one voice. The sound of one makes a choice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of voices too. The sound of me singing with you, helping each other to make it through. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices too. This is the sound of voices three, singing together in harmony, surrendering to the mystery. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of voices three. This is the sound of all of us, singing with love and the will to trust. Leave the rest behind, it'll turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us. Ooh, ooh, ooh. This is the sound of one voice, one people, one voice, a song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
We'd like you all to sing with This is the Sound of All of Us.
This is the sound of all of us, singing together the will to trust. Leave the rest behind, it will turn to dust. This is the sound of all of us. This is the sound of all of us.
This is the sound of one voice.
This is the sound of one voice.
All united.
One people, one voice. A song for every one of us. This is the sound of one voice. This is the sound of one voice.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Central Oregon. My name is Joe Meyer, and I'm so glad that you're here together with us today as we continue celebrating and exploring the December theme, Choosing Hope. We are an inclusive community that affirms the mind, heart, and body in our search for truth and meaning. Here you'll find both comfort and challenge for your spiritual journey. We want to offer a special welcome to all of those in Zoom land who are joining us together. If you're new, we invite you to put your name in on the chat. Whatever your age, income, or the color of your skin, you're welcome here. Whatever your sexual orientation, gender identity, or life story, you're welcome here. If you find yourself stirring with anger, or if your heart feels light, or perhaps you're managing to hold both of those feelings together at the same time, you're definitely welcome here. In this current culture of division, if your beliefs differ from mine, but you're called to love, you are welcome here. And now we're going to have the chalice lighting.
Good morning. My name is Dawn, and my dear friend and excellent interpreter will be lighting the candle for Today, when we greet the longest night of the year, we light our chalice with a hymn to the light by Dr. David Breeden. Our light is the light of the sun, keeper of all we love. Our light is the light of the earth, provider of sustenance. Our light is the light of all living beings, life precious like our own. Our light is the light of each of us, bound together in need and hope. Our light is the light of the cosmos, keeper of all we know.
Will you please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing this affirmation of life? 2, 3, 4. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, giving life the shape of justice.
morning. My name is Amy Brock, and I'm the Director of Religious Exploration for Children and Youth, and it is time for our Time for All Ages. So if you're young or young at heart, I invite you to find the way to the rug slowly this morning for our story. Let's be careful with our friends. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna need some help this morning. Is anybody here feeling super sunny today? Jackson, are you feeling super sunny? Are you? You have a pencil. Would you come and be my son? Jackson, would you come and be my son? Thank you. Okay, you're gonna take this and you're gonna stand right here. Can you come stand right here behind me? Thank you, so people can see you. Okay, we're gonna leave a little bit of space. Back up just a little bit. One step back. Thank you. You gotta hold it. It's the sun. It's really hot. You don't want to burn yourself, so you gotta hold it really steady. Okay. And then is somebody feeling kind of grounded and kind of earthy this morning? Cedar, are you feeling kind of groundy and earthy? Would you come and be my earth? Okay, you're gonna go stand next to Jackson.
Felix, there's lots of stars in the solar system too, so you are.
Yeah, and you guys can be the stars. You guys can make all the stars in the solar system. Okay. So today is kind of a special day. It is the winter solstice, and at this time of year, something special happens. Do you know what happens? It's the day that we have the longest night. And the reason why that happens is either you're gonna go around the sun, because the earth rotates around the sun, but that means that the sun has to stay in one spot. So the sun stays in one spot, and then the earth is gonna rotate around the sun, but the funny thing about the earth is that it's kind of tilted. It's not straight up and down. Can you tilt the earth for us a little bit? There you go. And so as the earth tilts and it moves around the sun, that means that we get less sun at certain times of year. Yeah, and today is the day where we get the very least amount of sun and we have the very darkest night. Thank you so much, sun and earth. You can have a seat. You can take your ball with you. Oops, maybe not. I love it. It's really hot. You have to be careful with it. You can, hey, Jackson, you can hold it if it can stay in your hands. Otherwise, I'm going to help you hold it. Okay. Okay.
Thanks.
So this month, we've kind of been exploring hope, and that kind of reminded me of our winter solstice today, because throughout history, there have been lots and lots of stories about people on this day who, when they got to the night and the sun went away and it was so dark for so long, they worried that it might never come back again. And there are so many stories throughout history. Even the people that know, even the grown-ups that know that the sun will come back, the dark just lasts so long that sometimes people are afraid that it might not come back.
Feels like that sometimes.
It does feel like that sometimes. And that kind of made me think about our feelings. Has anybody ever had a feeling before? Raise your hand if you've ever had a feeling, any kind of feeling. Has anybody ever not had a feeling? You've not had a feeling. Okay, well, some of us have, some of us haven't. We have all different kinds of feelings, and sometimes when we have feelings, it can feel like they're gonna last forever. But do our feelings ever really last forever? No. Just like the sun comes back and the night doesn't last forever, our feelings don't last forever either. Do you know how long a feeling lasts? They've studied this. Do you know how long a feeling lasts?
No.
90 seconds. That's enough time for you to see a bear, realize it's a bear, and decide what you're gonna do next. That's how long a feeling lasts.
9 seconds, wow.
It's a little bit longer than a minute.
No, 90 seconds.
It's about a minute and a half.
Yeah.
90 seconds is 10 seconds shorter than a minute.
Yeah, it's about 1 minute and a half, yeah. So if you're ever having a feeling and it feels like the feeling might never go away,
Right.
you can just remember that just like the sun comes back, just like the earth changes and moves and seasons change and move, our feelings change and move too.
I like that 90 seconds thing. That makes me, I've been surprised for the last 90 seconds finding that out, because I did not know that. And I like knowing that things can move through me that fast.
They can. Things move really quickly. we are going to go explore more about hope and faith and connection today in RE, but we also have something special that we are going to participate in. We're going to participate in the menorah lighting. We're going to see what that looks like before we go. So I think maybe we'll say the Children's Covenant, and then I'll join you guys, and then we'll do that. Would that be okay? All right. Can you help me say the Children's Covenant? Thank you so much. In this place, I am kind. In this place, I am loving. In this place, I am a friend to the earth and all animals and people. In this place, I am loved. We're going to stay right here.
We are talking about feelings today. One of the feelings we're talking about today is anger. And I have a decent amount of anger in me today, but I'm using gentler language right now because of our multi-generational setting. But on December 14th, I was angry to learn about two men showing up in Bondi Beach in Australia. These people tied to the Islamic State in a clear act of anti-Semitism, yet again, during Hanukkah. And it fills me with anger and sadness. But then right there next to it, that other feeling of hope is that man, Ahmed El-Ahmed, who is a Syrian Muslim, was one of the people that stopped that tragedy. Anger and hope right next to each other. And then all I have to do is turn in this direction and I can get all angry again in the last week. When I hear a speech or a sermon from the Pentagon where God is proclaimed as, yes, a God of love, but also a God of hate and a God of war, and I think to myself, did you not read anything that Jesus said? Because he kind of came to bring a new message, so he said. And that gives me hope when I think of all the Christians right now across the world affixing their heart on love to banish that kind of hate and to focus on hope. And then all I have to do is turn in this direction to Gaza and see the Jewish tradition being used again for genocide and for hate. The Jewish religion is not the actions of the state of Israel. And then all I have to do then is turn to the good people celebrating Hanukkah right now. The Jewish people who look to light and community and faith and, yes, hope at this time of year, Hanukkah, and say that light is possible, continued light is possible when we gather together. So today we have a special menorah lighting with Diane and Iris. There you go.
Good morning. My name is Diane Darling, and I have the pleasure of joining in with Iris and Anna Arbetter for this presentation. As you know, the Soul Matters theme for this month is hope. In December, as Reverend Scott said, the holiday of Hanukkah, also known as the Festival of Lights, is celebrated. And this story is definitely a story of hope. You may remember from last year when we lit the menorah that we said that the Syrian Greeks did not want the Jewish people to practice their faith. And so there was a battle that ensued. And led by Judah and the Maccabees, a small band of freedom fighters, they won the battle. But in the meantime, when the battle was going on, the Syrian Greeks had destroyed the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. So when the Jewish people went to rebuild the temple, there was only enough purified oil in a candelabra to light the space to build that entire temple for one day and one night. But with a little bit of hope and hard work and faith, the miracle of miracles happened, and the oil lasted for 8 days. And that is why we celebrate Hanukkah for 8 nights. That same hope allows us, our congregation, our friends, to act with spiritual courage in these trying times of our modern days. Excuse me. We light the menorah, or specifically the Hanukkah in this instance for this particular holiday, as a way to remember that even when there's darkness, there is always a spark of faith and hope that can carry you through. Before we light the candles, we say the prayer, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner chel Hanukkah. In English, this means, do you want to sing it? Okay. Okay. Praised are you, O Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who has made us holy through your commandments and has commanded us to kindle the Hanukkah lights. So now Anna and Iris will light the candles, a reminder that the Shamash candle, the tallest one, is the helper candle, and it will light all the others. And as this is the last night of Hanukkah, all 8 candles will be lit tonight.
Freedom for the courage of the Maccabees.
Knowledge. Oh, you're right. Sorry, we had a faux pas. Go ahead.
Knowledge.
For the value of wisdom.
Good deeds.
For acts of kindness.
Community.
For the strength of unity.
Land.
For connection to Jewish heritage.
Family.
For family and relationships.
Peace.
For ultimate peace and harmony. And hope for faith and brighter days.
I'm supposed to say that again.
Let's do it again. Let's do it together.
And hope for the faith
in
of the
brighter days. Thank you.
All right, please rise in body and spirit as we sing our kids out to their religious exploration classes. Make an arch in the middle, and the kids will wander down.
As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love will with you always. As you go, one more time. As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go.
Good morning. My name is Laura Pitney, and I am the engagement coordinator here at UUFCO. I just saw a face out there that made me really happy to see here today. I was just thinking about the theme for today, and that we're talking about both anger and hope. And in the chalice lighting today, Dawn said, "Our light is the light of each of us, bound together in need and hope." And so I'm thinking about how sometimes our anger is in response to something that we see out in the world that we need to respond to, that we want to respond to. And I think that for each of us, and I know for myself, that action is one way to bring hope into the world in the face of that feeling of, I have something I need to do here. So I'm thinking about all of the things that we're doing here at UUFCO that you can do to bring that light out into the world, whatever it is that you're feeling. So today at 4:30, we'll be celebrating the solstice, bringing light into the darkest night, to bring us into the next part of the year. And so you're all invited, even young children are invited. There will be a role for children 4 and up if you want to bring them. And we will be having more celebrations. On Wednesday, it's Christmas Eve, and at 4 o'clock, there's a family service, and at 7, there's a candlelight service. And if you forget that, just go to our website. The schedule is there. We will be having sweets in between. So you can just come for that if you want. On Christmas Day, this is important. If you are at all interested in helping our friends at Bethlehem Inn have a warm meal, we do need a few more volunteers, and you can do that at the kiosk or on the ACE. If you have that newsletter on your phone or on your computer, you can sign up there. We need 6 more volunteers. Milk, cupcakes, mashed potatoes, and mixed vegetables. So please do sign up so we can bring a nice meal on Christmas to those at Bethlehem Inn. And the week after Christmas, here the building is closed, so don't try to call because we are all off recovering. I've got a couple of things for you to think about for the new year. Walkways are getting slippery as the winter comes along, and we need some volunteers to help us be ready on Sunday mornings so that everyone is safe. And please also, as you get out of your cars, just please be careful. The slick, sometimes you don't even see the ice on those dark sidewalks, so please do penguin walks on those cold mornings. And if you can sign up to help out with snow shoveling and ice removal, I put a sign-up sheet at the kiosk. You can also contact me. Speaking of getting in and out of your cars, I know that no one wants any accidents to happen out here any morning, but particularly on Sunday mornings. When you park, please be mindful that you're not in a bike lane because then the bikers have to go into the road to get around your car. So just, notice, please, where you're parking. You can always park across the street at Roughware and walk over. And some new things, keep your eyes out on the newsletter. There are going to be some new things happening, a mindfulness workshop at the beginning of January, and we're also forming a new Soul Matters group. So keep your eyes out for that. And in the meantime, have a wonderful series of celebrations to bring the light into the world.
This community is full of life. All that we do is empowered by the generosity of our members and friends, the justice work, the caring, the fellowship, the Sunday mornings and the Wednesday nights, the way our facility supports the community, the staff, the lights, all of it is made possible by you. We are grateful for this fellowship and all that it brings to our lives, and we are grateful for your generosity. And so now it's time for our offering.
Spirit made a place for you where everything is new. Spirit made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Grace has made a place for you where everything is new. Grace has made a place for you where everything is new. Spirit made, grace has made a place for you where everything is new. Spirit made a place for you where everything is new. Where everything is new. Everything is new.
anger and hope, sorrows and joys. At least we have gratitude to maybe act as a undercurrent between the topsy-turvy ways of our days. So we do share our joys and our sorrows and our concerns here in our gratitudes. We have these on our kiosk each week. If you'd like to share one with the congregation, you can just fill it out and put it back in there. I'm going to read these, and while I do, feel free to light a candle on the sides for a joy, sorrow, or gratitude in your own heart. We have a joy from Noreen Halberstadt, and really on behalf of the Unicords, and really on behalf of all of us, I think, that last Sunday, the Unicords, UFCO's first handbell choir, had their debut performance. Who else here last week? All right. I'm overflowing with joy. I want to thank Bryce Nance for being our fabulous director, and to all the ringers who are making a commitment to this wonderful choir. Happy, happy, joy, joy. Be well. Let's see. Quincy Bernal shares that my grandmother, Andy Brass, had a very successful and long-awaited hip replacement surgery and is recovering extremely well. She is attending via Zoom today and is happy to have no more chronic pain. Yeah, Andy, glad you're better. The Deschaux family share that it is with great joy that we welcome the arrival of our newest family member to our family. Welcome, Rhea. Are you here today? She's doing baby things. Laura Pitney shares a joy. It was Joel Pitney's birthday. I'm so grateful that we were able to celebrate him and all the joy he brings to our lives. I love you, Joel, from Laura, who's up here earlier.
It's John's birthday, too. Maybe we should sing happy birthday.
Oh, it's John's birthday, too? All right. Well, and we're not to that one yet. Hold on, yeah. There's a lot of birthdays here. What were people doing 9 months ago? I know what they're doing. Kim Gunderson shares a great joy and gratitude. 35 years ago, on a beautiful winter solstice evening, Cameron Gunderson Moore brought his bright light into my life. Happy birthday, Cam. I love you deeply, Mom. And Susie Linford shares a gratitude for the world I was born into on December 14th, 1942. I am grateful for the legacy of those who beat back fascism with all the flinty toughness of their immigrant ancestors and indigenous people. Their legacy was to simply do what needed to be done with stoicism and unyielding defiance. Thank you, yes, indeed, thank you for those who came before and fought fascism and those who stand up for it today. And John, happy birthday to you too. So.
For birthdays do we have?
Did we do December birthday this year?
Oh, look at all those.
Did we not do it? Did we not do it the first?
Happy birthday.
Stand up if you have a birthday in December.
You. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to all of you. Happy birthday to you.
I wonder what the word pray means to you. I think it means something different to every single person in this room, likely, because each of us has our own relationship with the universe and we connect with it in our own way. And so when I say the word prayer, I invite you to say whatever that means for you. If I say the word meditation, that might mean something different for you too. So I'm going to offer a spoken prayer and meditation. And we'll follow that by some shared silence together. So I invite you just to take a deep breath into your body. It's been there all morning long. It'll be there this evening, whether you're thinking about it or not, sustaining your life, connecting you to the world around you, being your vessel for love to come alive. I share these words of hope from Victoria Safford. She writes about the gates of hope. Our mission is to find and plant ourselves at the gates of hope. Be careful. The gates of hope, I say, not the prudent gates of optimism, which are somewhat narrower, not the stalwart and boring gates of common sense, nor the strident gates of self-righteousness, which creak on shrill and angry hinges, nor the cheerful, flimsy garden gate of everything's just gonna be all right, but a different gate, sometimes a lonely place, the place of truth-telling about your own soul, first of all, and its condition, the place of resistance and defiance, the piece of ground from which you see the world, both exactly as it is and as it could be and as it will be. The place from which you glimpse not only struggle, but sometimes on a good day, the joy of the struggle. We stand there, beckoning and calling, telling people what we are seeing, and always remembering to ask people what they see. There we find ourselves, planted at the gates of hope.
Our reading today is from the Vietnamese Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, from his book entitled simply Anger. When we get angry, we suffer. If you really understand that, you also will be able to understand that when the other person is angry, it means that she is suffering. When someone insults you or behaves violently towards you, you have to be intelligent enough to see that the person suffers from his own violence and anger. But we tend to forget that. We think that we are the only one that suffers, and the other person is our oppressor. This is enough to make anger arise and to strengthen our desire to punish. We want to punish the other person because we suffer. Then we have anger in us, we have violence in us, just as they do. When we see that our suffering and anger are no different from their suffering and anger, we will behave more compassionately. So understanding the other is understanding yourself, and understanding yourself is understanding the other person. Everything must begin with you.
Will you please join us in singing number 170, We Are a Gentle, Angry People.
We are gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are justice-seeking people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gay and straight together, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. Yes, we are singing, singing for our lives.
Holly Near wrote that song in 1978. It was a response to the assassination of Harvey Milk in San Francisco and Mayor Moscone. They'd been killed because Harvey Milk was gay. And there was an outpouring of pain and anger and grief across San Francisco, certainly in the gay and lesbian community, but all over San Francisco. And after some days, they all gathered in the park, and Holly Near had been working on this song. And that's where she landed. We are a gentle, angry people, and we're singing for our lives. I appreciate that she took some time to be with herself and to be with her community before penning those lyrics, because a gentle, angry people is a very processed and mature and grounded way to approach that anger. The anger that was so alive in that community. She decided that they could claim both their gentleness and their anger at the same time. And I have to admit, for me, lately, they kind of go the other way around if I'm not careful. Anger is there and maybe gentleness comes later, but anger can be right there on the top for me right now. Anyone else? I got an amen. I don't get an amen enough in this place, and I just got one for anger. All right. Yeah, and that's interesting because I preach about a lot of stuff all the time. In fact, every Sunday almost. And this one seemed to strike a nerve. And all week people are saying, I'm angry too. I'm angry too. Let's talk about anger. And that's good to talk about anger and not just be angry. Not just be angry. Anger is a feeling, right? It's something that arises in us and it happens, whether we're paying attention or not, sometimes without our even knowing it. All of a sudden we say, why is my stomach in a knot? Why am I tight and anxious? Oh, I'm angry at that. That's why that's happening to my body. Before we even connect what's happening in our mind. And even though anger is a feeling, as our Secretary of Defense / War Department leader said in his address to the chaplains in the nation, I guess, last week about the U.S. Chaplain Corps. And in that, he took umbrage against the fact that the spiritual guide for the chaplains in the military only mentioned God once and mentioned feelings 11 times. Why he felt the need to put feelings in quotes, I don't know. They're just feelings. And there's a lot of them, I imagine, for those in our military. Despair, pain, confusion, pride, glory, lots of feelings. So it would make sense that we link our spiritual lives to our feelings, all of them. All the feelings, and there's lots. Have you ever seen one of those feeling charts? We got them when my kids were young, and we try and have them point to the feelings. And as we were doing this, I realized, well, that's a good exercise for all of us. What am I feeling right now, and how do I name it? And to just pull that out of the air can be hard sometimes, but if you have a nice chart that you can point to with smiley faces on it that are making a grumpy face or a happy face, that's a little easier. So when I was in seminary, I went through a process called clinical pastoral education. It's 3 months working. My site was at a Trauma One hospital in South Chicago. And it was where I really hoped to go. And I went down for my interview to see if I could go to this hospital, Christ Medical. And I was interviewing with someone who had become an amazing teacher on feelings for me. And as I was interviewing, I was so proud. I was feeling proud. I pointed to the proud icon. I was feeling proud because during my interview I said, because I was so wise, I said, I think I'm pretty good at feeling the positive feelings. But because I was so wise, I knew that I needed to work on feeling the negative feelings. That was going to sit well with her. It was going to get me right into the program right there. And she said, hold on, what was that? What did you call those feelings? And I said, the negative ones. She goes, which ones are those? I said, anger and frustration and sadness, the negative ones. She said, there are only feelings. There are not positive and negative feelings. Our goal is not to name them, but our goal is to feel them and understand them and work with them. And that was my very first lesson of what would become those 3 months of CPE. And at that moment, I really, really, really hoped I got into that program because I learned one of the biggest lessons of my entire life in an interview that dramatically changed the way that I understand feelings. And anger being one of those. And anger being one of those that is very alive right now in our country, in our lives and in our bodies and in our minds. Rebecca Solnit is an American writer and activist. And she writes, mostly we know her about hope. Hope in the Darkness is a seminal book she wrote on how to find hope in dark times. She also writes a lot about anger. How about that? She said, in our political conversations, anger is constantly evoked but rarely examined. So what exactly is it, she wonders? At its most basic, it's a physiological reaction to a threat. It's one we share with mammals. Anger manifests as a collection of somatic body responses, an accelerated heart rate, an increase in blood pressure, heightened body temperature that are associated with alertness, focus, and a readiness to act. And that is where our similarity to animals stops. Where a dog may growl, bristle, and bite you if you poke it with a stick, it will have no such reaction if you insult its God, or its sports team, Go Bears, or talk about someone who poked another dog. Sometimes there are good reasons, she writes, for a strong response, including the prevention of further harm. But oftentimes, if we're not careful, it doesn't just stop there. A signal for prevention of harm. There was a study by Jennifer Lerner and Dashiell Keltner, and it found that being angry makes people about as optimistic about the outcome of a situation as feeling happy. And that is dangerous to hear. If you're angry about something, you're as optimistic as you would be if you were happy about it. In other words, anger might make people miserable, yes, but it also makes them confident. And it takes away introspection. It takes away other feelings like pain and fear and guilt and uncertainty and vulnerability, all covered up by this confident anger. So it is, to be sure, right? There are no negative and positive feelings. There are just feelings. And anger can be, in our life, a gift. There's a band in the 90s, Rage Against the Machine, that I listened to. They're very, very hard, very, very, very loud, rambunctious. I was going to play some this morning, but the house band's doing such a nice job. It's a very nice counterpoint to anger. But they have a song called Freedom, and it's a lot about the American Indian movement in their video and about the oppression of Leonard Peltier. And in the middle of this song, when he's yelling and angry, he starts, it's like the music is going and going and going, and it just stops. And he whispers, "Anger is a gift." And I had never in my life thought about anger as a gift before. I thought about it as something to avoid. It was something that grumpy, angry people did. Anger. But anger can be a gift. It can be a clarifying signal of something that is wrong. It can be that smoke alarm that brings our awareness to something that matters to us. That something is being threatened, that injustice is happening, that something that we love is being put in peril. Rebecca Solnit writes again, "For our species, with its imaginative and narrative capacities, challenges to one's status and beliefs and advantages, they count as threats. So human anger can help us receive that. It's a response, though, sometimes to insecurity, literal and imagined. So over here, while it can tell us about threats to what we love, over here, it can bring us into attacks of fury. Have you ever felt furious? I mean, like kind of out of control furious. And that sometimes can be less than helpful. Fury attacks our body as well. And it's always interesting how you can check in with feelings and things that are affirming your life and what's happening in your body. Look at the science. Angry, furious people tend to have health problems around high blood pressure and blood clots and heart attacks. People routinely die of rage, unchecked anger, and fury. And so this anger that is sometimes less than helpful, that is out of control, it's the kind that we can't get a handle on, that loops and keeps coming back and being undealt with. It's one that fixates on if the other side, if that person would just get what they deserved, retribution and punishment. It's an outrage with no concern for compassion or repair. And this kind of anger near always is reductive and reduces things to a simple binary of villains and those who are oh so good. There's a Jedi teaching. As a Unitarian Universalist, we pull from all the world traditions. Judaism, Christianity, Islam. Well, in the Jedi teachings from Star Wars, particularly Master Yoda, it's an essential teaching for all the Jedis. It's what keeps them from going to the dark side. He says that fear leads to anger, and anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. Just like that. You find yourself suffering and vulnerable to the dark side. So says Master Yoda. And if it's suffering that is so deeply connected to this anger, to fear and anger and hate, then perhaps we should turn to another tradition, in the Buddhists, in Thich Nhat Hanh, this Vietnamese monk who showered the world in his writings and teachings of peace and mindfulness and compassion. In Buddhism, the Buddha puts forth that there are three main poisons for us, or three unwholesome roots. One is greed or attachment. Another one is hatred or anger. And the last is ignorance or delusion. These are the mental states that are caused by suffering or dukkha. And so anger, to pull that out of those three that can lead to suffering, can be addressed, says Thich Nhat Hanh. But how? Sometimes the way we think we want to address anger is by meeting it there and allowing it to express all over the place. He gives the example of if your house is on fire and there you are in it, and you are angry that the house is on fire, and you know that the arsonist is running in this direction. Anger would have you chase down the arsonist to seek revenge for that cosmic balance, rather than staying with your house and putting out the fire and attending to what is happening around you. So what to do with this anger then, if we find ourselves with it? If it's gone past just that alarm that tells us that something's off with our values? Thich Nhat Hanh offers one of the most tender and perhaps difficult teachings on anger. He says that when anger arises, we don't repress it, we don't shove it away. We meet it and we hold it, but we don't just hold it and address it. We hold it like a baby, like a screaming child who's out of control, and we take care of it. And we try and calm ourselves, and we breathe with the anger, with that love that a parent might look upon their child. Love your anger, he would say. Hold it and care for it. Be tender with it. He says, just say, "Hello, my anger. I'm here for you." He is very gentle with his anger, very tender, and very kind. And he teaches us that tenderness really is the partner of anger. It's the companion that can help us transform it into something powerful and useful, while also letting it be and exist. Not labeling it as negative, but labeling it as, or holding it as there. Hello, my anger. I am here for you. It's quite something. Tenderness and anger. Sometimes sermon inspiration comes from strange places. When in the middle of the week, for no reason, I'm walking down the street and I find myself singing the 1993 Michael Bolton song, "Time, Love, and Tenderness." Do you remember this song? And do you remember this man with his flowing Fabio locks singing song and song about love into our world? He sings this song called "Time, Love, and Tenderness." And it's a very unlikely song that I probably not thought of in 20 years. But those are the things that can help us work with our anger. It's Thich Nhat Hanh and Michael Bolton hanging out, having tea, talking about how to address our anger and our hurt. Because if we do that, if we hold our anger with tenderness, that's when we begin to see that under that anger, the anger is a response to something that lives within us. Maybe it's grief or heartbreak or frustration or exhaustion for the way we're seeing things in the world. But it's our individual response. It lives within inside of us. Other people might hear the exact same thing and have no anger at all. So the anger truly does live within us, even though it comes from outside stimulus. So Thich Nhat Hanh is in no way teaching us to be passive. He's inviting us to be free, Because the freedom, which is the goal of Buddhism, freedom comes through the allowance, the acceptance, to hold what is. And if that is anger, then we're called to hold it with compassion. Once it's held tenderly, then perhaps it transformed into something that looks like hope. Because we can hold our anger and say, hello, anger. If we can hold that, then we might understand the wound that anger is naming underneath there. If we can find the wound, then hope would say there can be healing. And where anger shouts no, and sometimes very appropriately and justly, well, anger might just stop there, but if we can hold it, then hope would say, yes, and then what? What are we going to make together to address that no? Our Unitarian Universalist tradition tells us this about harm in the world and things that we see that attack our values. These two truths, that we want to address what is true in the world, to speak those hard truths about harm and injustice into the world. But then we refuse completely to give up on the power of love and the hope that is possible to transform this world around us. We know that a world that is built on anger and hate and humiliation and revenge has to be transformed. And we proclaim loudly, just as Martin Luther King Jr. did, that darkness will never drive out darkness, only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate, but only love can do that. And that is hopeful. And let us not forget that Dr. King is also the one that told us that we should be maladjusted to things in this world. We should be maladjusted. Read that as angry about what is not right in this world. And when I say not right, I mean what is not loving and life-affirming. So when we find ourselves being angry, we can wonder, how might this anger transform into hope